The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this webinar. Today we will be doing the first part of a custom formulas and indicators series. Today, in this webinar, in this session, we will be talking about creating a custom formula to discover the percentage of the schedule variance. My name is Rafael Santos. I am a Microsoft Project MVP, and I'm also a principal consultant here at Sensei Project Solutions. And I just would like to say welcome to this webinar, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are on the globe. So thank you very much for attending today's session. Before we get started, I would like to do a quick introduction about myself. So as I said, my name is Rafael Santos, and I am a principal consultant here at Sensei Project Solutions. I am a member of the delivery team, a team which is responsible for engaging with clients, understanding their business needs, and then converting all of those business needs into solutions, into customizations within the PPM platform. So that's my main work, my main activities here at Sensei. I am a Microsoft project MVP, as I said. So we are 39 MVPs in the entire world. So have been nominated as an MVP since 2016. So I'm running my second term, my second year as a Microsoft project MVP. And as previous experiences, I have had the opportunity to participate in projects to adopt and implement the PPM platform in 3 different continents. So I am based in the city of São Paulo in Brazil. So I have been working in Brazil to implement Project Online and Project Server. But I have also worked in Africa, and now as I am working for Sensei, I am doing this for clients based in the United States. So if you ever need to have a contact with us, or if you need to contact me, if you need to clarify some questions, if there are things that you'd like to discuss after this presentation, please feel free to reach out. My email address is in here, rafael.santos@senseiprojectsolutions.com. I will be more than happy to be discussing everything that you need or anything that you need moving forward. Talking a little bit about Sensei. Sensei is a company that has been nominated in the year 2014 with the award Partner of the Year. So we were winners in 2014, and we have also been nominated as finalists in 2015. 2017 as well as 2018. So this year we have been again nominated as the Partner of the Year finalists. So we were the only partner in North America to be nominated to the final. So we are very proud of that. We have been working to deploy more than 500 PPM solutions, or we have worked in more than 500 Microsoft PPM deployment projects in the United States and in Australia. And we have more than 5,000 Microsoft PPM users trained. So here I am talking about project managers, administrators, as well as team members. So we have a truly global impact. We have offices in the United States as well as in Australia. So if you are already a client of us, we would like to say a big thank you for all of your business. If you are not, maybe there is something that we can do to help your company move forward your PPM implementation. The way Sensei works is basically distributed in 4 pillars, I would say, in 4 main blocks. So we do offer services, solutions, trainings, and apps. So there are many different ways we help clients and organizations achieve strategic goals through work and project management best practices with Microsoft technology. So if you would like to understand a little bit more what we can do for you or how we could help your company, you can visit senseiprojectsolutions.com, and in there you will have all of the information you need. So moving on to today's presentation, this is going to be a series on custom formulas and indicators. So I will be conducting three presentations about custom formulas and indicators using Microsoft Project Desktop. So today we will be discussing in the first part how we can create a percentage, how we can discover, how we can calculate the percent of schedule variance. So in 1 month mainly we will be having the part number 2, and then in part number 2, we will be discussing the creation of a critical path indicator with Microsoft Project. So we will basically extend what we have learned here, and we will be discussing the methods and the steps to create a critical path indicator. And then in September, we will be back on part number 3, in which we will discuss how to create governance KPIs for your schedule. So everything related to this is available at our website. So you just need to visit senseiprojectsolutions.com/webinars, and there in there you have all of the upcoming sessions with their descriptions. You have also the links, so then you can enroll yourself. You can do your subscription to watch all of the upcoming sessions. And I hope to see you in the next sessions. So if you do have if you do have questions during this session, please feel free to type them in the chat window. And then by the end of this presentation, by the end of this session, I will be answering each of them. So before we get started, let's go back to the basics and let's do an understanding. So let's quickly understand, how does project calculate a schedule variance? So how does the software do that? So what is a project finish variance, and how does the software calculates that? So here I just extracted a small sentence in which I will read a little bit. It's going to be real quick, but we need to, really understand how this software does that. So Microsoft uses a field called finish variance, and this finish variance field is used to calculate the finish variance. So it presents us the schedule variance. So the finish variance will contain the amount of time that represents the difference between what we have planned in the baseline and what is the current finish date for a task or for the project itself. So the expression used to calculate the finish variance is finish minus baseline finish. So this is the expression Microsoft Project uses internally to calculate what the finish variance is. So when we look at our schedule, we may have something like this when we are planning. So we have the entire list of tasks with everything that should be included for our project to be delivered, to deliver its results, its product or its solution. And after we are finished with the planning phase, we have to save our baseline, right? So when we save the baseline, we take a big picture of what our project is going to be, or at least what we plan our project to be. So the baseline is going to be a picture that will determine what we did have defined as the planning dates, the duration that has been planned. It can also involve costs and work, so everything should be placed within the baseline. However, as our project starts and as it progresses, we may have some differences. And when we do have differences, we can see the planned dates as well as how our dates are running today, so the current dates. And this is going to be generating us the variances in which project will just basically be comparing what is happening with the schedule right now and what has been planned. So this is all stored, as I said, in the finish variance field, which is a built-in field in Microsoft Project that we don't need to calculate. However, the point when we get and use this finish variance is that it provides us the information as days. So we may have like 1 day of variance, 2 days of variance, 10 days of variance. However, our question is going to be how big it is if compared to our baseline. So is is 1 day of variance a big variance? Is a 10 days of variance a big variance? If we do not know what we had planned originally, it's hard to answer this question, right? So that's the reason the percentage of schedule variance is a very important one, because it's going to provide us a measure to understand how big our variance is. So in order to create and in order to be able to calculate the percentage of schedule variance, we will be using basically two fields. So we have the finish variance field, which basically has what is the difference, what's the lag that we have, and we will also use the baseline duration field, because the baseline duration is going to provide us with what has been planned, what was originally planned in terms of duration for our schedule. So the formula, the context of the formula is going to be this: the percentage of schedule variance can be found if we use the finish variance information and divide it by the baseline duration. So before we get started with our information in terms of what we are going to be doing in a demo in a demo session, let's just discuss quickly the best practices. So whenever you are creating a new formula within Microsoft Project, if this is a formula that calculates variances, that presents you with some indicators about what you do have in your schedule, you have to make sure that you take into consideration two aspects of the schedule. So first, we need to make sure that the schedule has been baselined. So this is a very important thing. So if we do not have baseline, so there is no way for us to calculate what the variance is, because the baseline will basically reflect what has been planned for our project. And then there is a second item, I would say, that we need to take into consideration when we are doing this kind of calculation, this type of calculation, which is we have to make sure that the task is not a milestone, because its duration, if a milestone, will be 0, and we cannot divide any number by 0. So we won't be able to discover the percentage of variance if we are using milestones. So that's, those are the two items that we need to take into consideration, the two best practices when we are creating our schedule variance indicators or any other indicators that will be using fields in Microsoft Project. So we might be talking about creating a cost person, discovering the percentage of the cost variance or the work variance. It doesn't really matter. Every time we are creating a formula within project that will be calculating some kind of variance, that's going to be presenting us an indicator based upon the variances that we have in the schedule, we need to take those two items into account. So make sure that our project is baselined, and make sure that a task is not a milestone. So now it's time for us to do our hands-on. So we'll be just switching gears here and moving to Microsoft Project, because in Microsoft Project, we will be creating our schedule variance. We will be creating our schedule percentage of schedule variance. So let me go here to the project professional. And just would like to quickly present this to you guys. So this is a schedule that has been created. Actually, it's a schedule that comes by default with Microsoft Project. So when you open up all the templates available in Microsoft Project, this is a template that is available out of the box in there. It's called Project Server Installation. So I just made a little bit of changes here to adapt this better to what I need, but this is an out of the box. I didn't create this from scratch. And here we have all of the tasks, right? So let me go to view here and then go to outline and then level 1. You'll be able to see everything that is included in the project. And then if I go to outline and do all subtasks, all of them are going to be viewed here. So we do have our schedule here. So in order to create our finish variance indicator, not the indicator, but what calculates what's the percentage, I am going to go here to project and then custom fields. So from within the custom fields, I will be selecting the text type. And then we do have the text one here available. So what I am going to do is I'm going to change this to number, because the result I need in this particular situation, in this particular case, is going to be a number. So I would like to receive or to see what the number for the percentage is. So that's the reason I'm changing and switching from text to number. So instead of using number 1, which is the default name that the software provides me with, I will be changing this. So rename, and I will call it percentage of schedule variance. So then it's easier for me to understand. It's easier for me to have this information here. So percentage of schedule variance, and then I will be using a formula. So click on formula. And in here, the first thing that we need to remember is we do have two main considerations to make when creating this formula, right? So we have to make sure that our schedule has been, so the baseline has been set. I believe it's better saying this way. So the baseline has been set for our schedule, and we have also to make sure that the task is not a milestone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be clicking here, and I will be using a function within Microsoft Project, which is general, and then I will be using the if function. So the if function is the one that's going to be using a conditional thing, or will be putting some conditions in order for us to discover if a task is either a milestone or if the baseline has been set or not. So instead of using the expression here, I will be removing the expression. And as the first thing we need to do is we need to discover is if our project has been baselined or not. I will be using a field which is a field called baseline duration. So, oh, sorry, baseline finish. So I'll be moving here to date and then baseline finish. And then there is going to be the baseline finish here. Remember that we are not going to be using 1 or 2 or 3 just because those fields are meant to be used as historical values. So I will be using this one that has no number associated to it. So I'll be saying if baseline finish equals to, and then I will be using another function within Microsoft Project, which is a function available here in the general area. Oh, sorry, in Microsoft Project area, and then it's a project date value. Why am I using the project date value? Because the baseline finish expression has a date, right? So when we save it, it has a date on it. However, when we do not have a date, it has a text. So in order to convert that text to something that I can compare, I will be using this project date value. So then it converts what is stored in an expression. So project date value is going to be NA, and this NA should be between commas, between quotes, sorry, because the NA is not available, which is the default value if we do not have a baseline saved. Then I will be using the OR function, and I will be taking a field here which is stored in the flag area, and this field is going to be milestone. So here I'm saying if the baseline finish equals to project date value NA, which means if the baseline field is equals to NA, which means we do not have a baseline saved yet, or if the task is a milestone, then you do not need to do any calculations at all. So then the true part for me is going to be 0. What is the amount or what is the size of my percentage of finished variance? It's going to be just 0 because my project has either been baselined or nor has been or the task has is a milestone, right? And then the false part here is going to be our calculation. So as I said previously, the calculation for us to discover what is the percentage of finished variance is going to be the finished variance field, which is stored here under dates. So I'm going to go here to finish, and then we have finished variance. And I will divide this finished variance by the baseline duration. So I'm gonna be picking field here, and then duration, and then we have the baseline duration. Okay, so baseline duration is in here, baseline duration. As we know, when we do this kind of calculation, it's going to be presenting as decimals to us, and instead of this, I would like to see this as an integer. So in order to transform this into an integer, I'll be just multiplying this by 100. So then the result's going to be the result times 100. So instead of receiving the information as decimals, I will be seeing this as an integer. So I'll be clicking OK. All of my content will be replaced by this formula here. So no errors. Remember to go to the calculation for task and group summary rows and say that it should be using formula 2. And then we can just go ahead and click OK. So what I'm going to be doing now is I will go here to view and then tables, and I will be changing the table that I'm seeing, and instead of being the entry table, I'll be moving to the variance table, because this variance table shows me everything related to dates, right? So I have my task names, I have my start and finish date, I have my baseline start, baseline finish, the start variance and the finish variance for each one of the tasks. So I will add a new column here, and this column is going to be my percentage of schedule variance. And as we can see, this is all 0. So let me just organize this a little bit and say that I would like to see the content centralized. Okay, sounds better. Oops, sorry. Let me go here, field settings, and then say the title will be aligned as well. All right, so it's going to be 0. And the reason the reason my percentage of schedule variance is 0 is just because we don't have a baseline saved, right? So what I'm going to be doing now is I will be setting up a baseline for my project. So go to project, set baseline, and then set baseline. Click OK. The values are still gonna be 0 just because we don't have a variance at all, since we didn't have started the project. So what I'm going to be doing is, let's say that I have a particular task, so this prepare the farm servers, and the person assigned to this task, which is, let's see, the PPM consultant. So the PPM consultant was originally scheduled to be working 100% of his time to do this task. So let's pretend that we have received an information that this person is only going to be available, or is only going to be able to dedicate 75% of his time to work on this task, meaning he or she will only be able to work 6 hours to complete this task. So I will change these units here to 75% and then click OK. And what's going to be happening here is the following. My finish date will be changed because we know that we need more time to deliver this task, since we do have less availability to work on this task. And this is going to be causing me a finish variance of 2 days. So if we compare, and let me open up here the baseline duration field. So if we take 2 out of 6 days, so we have 2 days of variance, and the baseline duration says that it was planned to take 6 days, so 2 of 6 is going to give us 33%. So we have a schedule variance that is 33% based on what we have planned. So the same thing is going to be happening in other tasks. So for example, this task here called add web servers to the farm, it was originally planned to take 24 hours, but let's say that it's now going to be taking 28 hours. So if it's going to take 28 hours instead of 24, when I click OK, we do have a variance which is 0.5 days, and this under 3 days that this task was planned originally is giving us a 16% of variance. So that's a very simple way for us to discover what the percentage of variance is. It's nice because we can see that this is reflecting the entire schedule. So if I go back here to outline numbers and say level 1, I know that my changes or my variances, they get started here in this style SharePoint 2016 summary task, and then they are spread over the entire schedule, down the schedule. And if we see the percentage of finish variance to the entire schedule is 1.8, because originally our baseline duration for the schedule was 46 days, and we are with a variance of 0.5 days, which gives us 1.08 percentage of variance. So that's a very nice and simple way for us to discover that. And this is a very useful tool. This is a very useful way for us to understanding what's the size of our finish variance. So I will be moving back here to the presentation because I would like to share some additional links and references with you guys. So if you need to understand more, or if you want to understand more about baselining best practices in Microsoft Project, you can read Kenneth Steiner's article that will be talking about this. So we do have an impact article that discusses which are or what are the baseline best practices. And I have also written an article also at MPUG in which I talk about calculated the percent of variance in Microsoft Project. Here, I'm not just talking about the schedule variance, but I am also talking about work variance and cost variance. So if you'd like to understand a little bit more, if you'd like to further enhance your knowledge about variances in Microsoft Project, you can combine and read the two articles that will provide you with a very useful information. So let's see if we do have questions, and if we do, I will be answering them here. So just a second. All right, so Matt is asking if we are going to be emailing you guys with the record for this presentation. And the answer, Matt, is yes. This presentation is being recorded, and it should be available between today and tomorrow. So anyone could be watching this presentation on demand if needed. Let's see if there is another question or if there are more questions coming. Don't seem to be the case. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be the case, so I don't see any more questions here. So I'll be wrapping up here, everybody. Thank you very much for attending this session. I hope that you have enjoyed the session, and I hope that the session was useful to you. Please keep in mind that we have two more of those sessions coming. So we have another one coming in July and another one coming in September. So just visit senseiprojectsolutions.com/webinars, and in there you will be able to enroll yourself to watch the next presentations on creating custom formulas and indicators in Microsoft Project. So again, thank you very much. And I will be wrapping up here. I hope that you have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.